Hey everybody, I'm here with Reb Adam. Reb Adam, good to see you. I guess it's morning for you right now. No, it's afternoon for you. It's actually morning for me.
Good morning to you. Good afternoon to me.
It's a pleasure to connect again. We had a really nice conversation not too long ago, and we thought we'd continue the conversation and maybe share some of your wisdom and some of your experience with our audience. So without further ado, perhaps you can give us a little bit of an intro context in terms of how life was growing up, um, your childhood, et cetera, et cetera, just to give us a feel for the early days and leading up to where you are today.
Awesome. Jay, it's good to be here with you.
Nice to be here.
Yeah, always wonderful to connect and share a story or two, some ideas. It's always a privilege, and I do hope and intend that at least one person will benefit, even if that's you.
And vice versa.
So, thank you.
Yeah.
Certainly so. So, I grew up in the Chicago suburbs. Emphasis on suburbs. I say Chicago, people are like, oh, Chicago, city boy. I'm like, oh, suburban kid. It was quiet.
What was
My
the name
parents
of
from
the
the former
neighborhood?
USSR. I grew up in Wheeling. It's a
Wheeling.
northwest suburb, close to Buffalo Grove. Then I moved around a bit in my late teens, early 20s, Mundelein, Niles.
And you were
So,
mentioning USSR. Tell us about that as well.
my parents are from the former USSR. I was born in the States,
Yeah.
but they instilled a very strong sense of Jewish pride because they had dealt with so much anti-Semitism. My father having had his nose broken 10 times
Oh my God.
during his 2-year mandatory service in the army, just for being Jewish. Just people would come up and potch him just like that, just 'cause. And my mother, being one of generally three Jews in her school, all the more so in her music school, she was a grand pianist, she's a master musician. It's like, it's like a Star of David next to her name on the census of students.
Where did your parents
She,
live in the former Soviet Union?
so my father is from Vinica, which is 20 kilometers out of Breslov,
Mhm.
Ukraine. And then my mother grew up in Tambov, which is a bit more southeast-ish, still a big city,
Mhm.
and moved to St. Petersburg when she was 14, 15.
Nice.
So they came here. Yeah, she snuck out in 79. She went to Italy, sold bread in the streets, got a pretty penny, and then bought a ticket and made it to the States. And then my father came in 90 as the Soviet Union was already falling.
Was
So
it
they met in the
difficult for your
States.
mom to get out in 79?
I don't know. I haven't heard of the particular difficulty. I assume so. It's like, oh yeah, we're just going to vacation in Italy. I don't know if that was the case.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And your dad in 1990?
I assume that was easier
Yeah, yeah,
because it
yeah,
was already
absolutely.
falling apart. Yeah.
And how did your parents meet?
My mother was a nurse's assistant at an organization called the ARC, which is a nonprofit organization in Chicago. My father came in with some type of foot injury. She took care of him. He was enamored, came back either the same night or the next day. Within a short amount of time, he came back with flowers and, kind of introduced himself a bit more formally. And now I'm here.
Lovely, lovely. And uh,
Yes.
and you came along a number of years after that.
Yes. I
Yeah.
was born in 95, January 1st. New Year's baby.
And did you grow up in let's say from home, an observant home? Tell me about your exposure to Yiddishkeit at the early stages of your life.
Little to no exposure.
Hmm.
My parents did not have much in the former USSR, so they couldn't give me much either. But
Hmm.
they gave me what they could, right? They gave me the sense of identity and pride. There was a fish head at the table on Rosh Hashanah, but no one explained why, and I never asked a question why. So, Hanukkah candles. You light 3 or 4 of them, it's good Yeah, okay, I
But
do all eight.
but there
There
was
was something.
there was something because
Absolutely.
you knew it was Rosh Hashanah, you knew it was Hanukkah. And what kind of childhood did you have in terms of schooling and friends and social life?
Public schooling through and through.
Mhm.
I grew up in say 50% Hispanic public schooling. All my friends growing up were my amigos. Shout out Roberto.
And did you experience some of that anti-Semitism that your parents experienced as children in the former Soviet Union?
Certainly nowhere comparably so.
Mhm.
Uh, heard a slur here and there. I heard a statement, being a Jew, stop Jewing. I heard it,
Mhm.
but I also jokingly would say it about myself. I just had no recognition or sensitivity to what it was and what that entailed. My father's mother, who's still alive, thank God, all the more so, being a Holocaust survivor.
Mm. And do you have siblings?
I do. I'm the youngest of four, but I'm the only product of my parents. So I
Hmm.
have two sisters
Hmm.
that we share our mother, and then a brother that I share my father.
Hmm. And did you have a happy childhood?
I did.
Yeah, nice.
Wonderful, loving home. We all lived together, my siblings and I, and yeah, it was great.
And so tell me, as you were going through high school and transitioning out of high school, and began thinking about life and the meaning of life, how did your life begin to evolve in terms of what you wanted and pursuing sort of an ever growing meaningful experience?
Good question. I'd like to go back even a little bit. I think there's
Sure.
important context that around 12 and a half,
Hmm.
my father asked me how my bar mitzvah preparation was coming along. And I told him it's going okay, because I was actually studying Hebrew with my grandmother. So it's going okay, but
And was your grandmother your bar mitzvah coach? Is that how it was
for,
set up?
yeah,
Yeah.
she's like my Hebrew coach, bar mitzvah coach, you could say. Yeah, she's teaching me the aleph base. That's about it. I had no other notion of
Hmm.
making an aliyah or reading.
But
Just
did
basic.
but did your dad at one point say your bar mitzvah's coming up, you got to prepare, or was it your
Nope,
grandmother who initiated it, or yeah.
he initiated it.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he asked me the question. I said, it's coming along okay, but I actually don't want it because I'm not Jewish and there's no God.
Hmm.
And his response to me was, good for you. He said, the fact that you're asking questions means you're already waves ahead of those who were even born with the silver spoon and indoctrinated with Torah and mitzvot and so forth, and who never asked a real strong question in their lives. So he said, yeah, that is the Jewish people. We ask questions.
Hmm.
So he said, keep asking. You're doing great. Just keep in mind, your statement is half correct. You got halfway there. There is no God but God. He dropped an anal movado on me, right? There's none other than him. And I'm like, I think the fact that I'm sharing this, 17, 18 years later, and obviously was a huge impression on me. I heeded his word. I continued to ask questions. It was a, 2.5 year atheist phase, then agnostic phase. But yes, as I stepped out of high school and became more of a spiritualist, thanks to uh, psychedelic experience and the expansion of my mind and just having a deep inner knowing and felt sense through that experience that certainly there is something beyond me.
Hmm.
But I must know my father's been learning Kabbalah since I was 6. So even
Hmm.
though I grew up in a secular home, I was very exposed to the concepts. The translations were in the house. I picked up the books. I perused here and there.
Hmm. Hmm. Tell me a little bit about your experience with psychedelics and what your point of view is on psychedelics in general.
Sure. So I'd say in that 5 year, 18 to 23 phase, which I call my New Age phase, prior to taking the plane over to Israel to go to yeshiva, I was quite I would say a pothead, as well as a psychonaut of sorts. Psilocybin, LSD, DMT a handful of times, never quite shot through,
Hmm.
but still had some deep experiences
Hmm.
uh, on both sides. Like the absolute swimming in the rivers of hell and the wondrous singing of, millions of angels and feeling the ultimate bliss and ego death of the oneness that is reality itself.
Mm.
And so going through, let's say, being around the block with what that had to offer, and it wasn't done so intentionally. It wasn't done with a proper,
Hmm.
strong spiritual. I was just exploring,
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
wanted a trip. I wanted a journey,
Hmm.
but it definitely tasted something beyond.
And with the knowledge that you currently have, would you discourage the consumption of, for example, psychedelics? There's a lot of studies around mushrooms and whatnot being potentially medicinal. Do you have much of a perspective at all now, having looked back and having the knowledge that you have today?
I think it's clear that there is a wonderful medicinal purpose to a lot of these
Hmm.
medicines. I think there's
Hmm.
a reason the creator put it into the world.
Hmm.
And yeah, of course, if done in a healthy, intentional setting with proper guidance, I think can be deeply healing. I
Hmm.
also just happen to be an advocate for discovering what that looks like through our inner work and meditation, Kabbalistic and
Hmm.
Jewish meditation, for example,
Hmm.
as a potential, let's say, means to do the same
Yeah,
without necessarily needing the medicine. But
yeah.
I think,
I would argue
sometimes it is
even
necessary.
I would argue even better if possible. The inner work.
Abs
I mean,
100%.
we as humans have the honor and privilege of probably having the most complex chemical factory on the planet if we can only tap into it. Um,
Well said.
so you're, for lack of better term, and correct my terminology if you disagree, you had, let's say, a 5 year or so span of being rebellious. What clicked? What brought you to Israel? I think that's a pretty cool story if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think 5 years was the super rebellion. I think I was always rebellious, relatively
Hmm.
speaking.
Hmm. Hmm.
So in hindsight, I could see the leadership there,
Hmm.
just wanting to do things my way. What led me to Israel? First of all, 2 years prior to coming to Israel, I came on birthright,
Hmm.
and it was a profound experience through and through. Particularly meeting Abraham Lowenthal in Sfat and hearing his story and how he was visiting Israel and slowly but surely visiting more often and coming for a couple months, now half a year, and eventually made his way to make Aliyah. And also having discovered Kabbalah and Chassidut and inner dimensions of Torah in his college years and being enamored and inspired and enlivened by what it had to offer. And so I was very interested, but there wasn't anything particular about the experience. He gave a basic story, but for some reason, beyond logic and reason, my heart opened and the gates of tears were just crying uncontrollably, sitting front and center, listening to him speak.
And would you
Little did I
say,
know,
there were tears of bliss, of sadness, of mixed emotions? Could you describe it even?
yeah, tears of bliss, tears of a recognition, tears of a inner knowing,
Mm.
tears of a coming home.
Mm.
But I
And
wasn't sure I knew that.
uh-huh.
I just knew it was positive. There was a felt
Yeah.
sense pleasantness. It was a good
It was
cry.
a positive cry. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
And in the closing circle of 42 people, and in that birthright group, I was the only one of the 42 who explicitly said, I want to make Aliyah.
Hmm.
I want to do anything and everything and really make the move. Took a couple of years as far as Shiva and so forth. Uh, so what inspired that, particularly in the last year before coming, I was dating a non-Jewish girl. My father had told me throughout all my years, he said, I couldn't give you much. I'll just ask you of one thing. He said, I'm not Jewish unless my grandkids are Jewish. So please do me a favor and keep me Jewish. And I was still rebellious. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that's fine. And so it was a very kind of toxic, but stereotypical secular on off, are something, not something. But it put me through a lot of emotional turmoil, to say the least. And I hit some point where I asked myself, what am I doing? I've literally put this woman on a pedestal. I'm treating her like a god. And she brought me into, I would say, strange practices and matters that totally put me out of alignment. So I asked myself, what does it mean to be a Jewish man, to have a Jewish home? I actually don't know.
Hmm.
But the statistics are attractive. My father at that point divorced 4 times, my mother twice. I didn't want to be a statistic. I saw, okay, religious community, 10% plus minus. That's interesting. Let's anchor into something. And all the more so, I had the spiritual background in that 5 years of 18 to 23, digging deeper into Kabbalah along with the other practices of the world. And so it was felt sense that I had to make the move. Just didn't know what.
Hmm.
It wasn't necessarily Israel. I called out in what I understand to be tshuva, 2 weeks, every day, 2, 3 hours of golf ball sized tears, wailing, asking for clarity. Open up the door. I don't know where, I don't know how. Make it easy for me. I'm ready. I'm yours. Just make it happen. And it did. Rabbi reached out of the blue. Facebook Messenger, cookie cutter, Kiruv outreach. Hey, you're new in town. I see you're into hip hop because it's also an underground rapper in the Chicago. Love to share about a little bit of that if relevant. And I said, Rabbi, you don't have to sell me on anything. You caught a live one, whatever you have to offer. I'm ready. Let's go. Let's do it. So we
So
met for
this rabbi
coffee.
was new to town?
He was new to town. He just
Yeah.
got hired. Uh, I forget the organization name, but specifically catering to Russian Jewish population,
Oh,
which is
wow.
quite large in Chicago.
Yeah.
Somehow in the database that I was a child of Russian Jews and probably was disconnected from my tradition and
Hmm.
needed to connect.
And is this rabbi a Hasid, a Chabad?
He was an alumni of Or Sameach,
Or Sameach? Okay. Yeah.
and so say Litvish Yeshivish, at least today, with a strong Hasidic and Kuknik type of mix and
Understand.
flavor.
Yeah. So you said you got me. So what happened
He
next?
said, "You got me." So he said, "Slow down. Let's at least meet and talk." And he noticed, like, okay, he's kind of holding somewhere. It seems like he's been learning something. And we learned once a week, Derech Hashem, for only 3 weeks. And he said, "You're ready. Like, you're more than ready." So he offered me the Rage program, which is like some 10-day, half Russia, half Israel super trip. And you learn for 2, 3 months in Chicago to like earn your ticket and prepare yourself. And I signed up for it on the spot, like within 5 minutes that he sent it to me. And he said, "You look really adamant. How about this instead?" And he sent me this new yeshiva program. It was the first year I was going to be a guinea pig. It's called J101 or Sameach. I was going to be paid $400 a month for 10 months to be learning there, an internship, and all these things. It seemed like a literal answer to my prayer. Like
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
so much so I cried profusely, 30 minutes, just like, this is it. So when my father heard about it, he said, go and don't look back.
Mm,
He said, go live in Israel and die in Israel.
beautiful. Your dad sounds like a very supportive guy.
Incredibly supportive,
Yeah.
incredibly happy, proud. Yes.
So, before we get to Israel, you mentioned rapping in passing. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been writing poetry since I was 8.
Yeah.
So it was always my form of expression. It was my self-therapy, writing, and particularly rhymes. And there's some classic videos somewhere, somehow, on some hard drive of me rapping as early as like 10, 11 years old, just
Put
for
it
fun.
online.
If I could find it, really, it's like, it would be some super classical stuff.
Yeah.
I dodged a Class X felony when I was 19. I had said yes to accepting a package to my home with my name on it.
Hmm.
The guy was very convincing. He was like suburban drug lord, never been caught before, done very well for himself. Many Air Jordans, bought his parents a car type of thing, gold-plated MacBook. So I thought, okay, he's never been caught. He's got a good track record. I
Mm.
just have to press a button or two, buy some Bitcoin back when it was 300 bucks,
Yeah.
Silk Road, no problem. The first package was intercepted,
Mm.
and that entire day was a movie.
Mm.
It could take 20 minutes if I was to share it in full detail. But a
Yeah.
literal movie, miraculous day. In short, I was brought home the same day. Nothing's on my record as if nothing ever happened.
Oh, wow.
And as they were about to drive me home from this whole mission, the chief said, "Son, I've been in the force for 20 years. I've never seen what has happened to you today happen
Mm.
before. So whoever or whatever you pray to, tell them thank you because you're going home."
Wow. Wow.
I sat with a lot of guilt and
Mm.
shame for even having put myself, let alone my family, in that position.
Mm.
The house was raided. I mean, it was trash. It was like this
Oh my
whole
God.
thing. Like, what
Wow.
am I doing? Because working 5 hours a week at Best Buy, pothead, like, okay, I just want to get by, make a couple extra bucks.
Mm.
And so there was a great sense of survivor's guilt. And there was also great anxiety because I knew this guy had money. He wasn't going to go to jail right away. He'd probably send someone to off me.
Hmm.
My
Hmm.
parents were so scared they wanted to send me out of state, figure something out. It was a tough time. So I started writing raps.
Mm.
Same thing. I was a kid, I wrote poetry and something just clicked. I had listened to a lot of Kendrick Lamar at the time, and I just thought, okay, I can sense his survivor's guilt. It might be like a very white kid suburban version of that, but
Yeah. Yeah.
that was my expression. And it was
Yeah.
incredibly helpful. It really saved my life.
Huh. Huh. And do you still write poetry?
I do. Still
Yeah.
write poetry, still write raps.
Yeah.
I
Awesome.
kind of had my pinky toe in the music industry. I mean, I got the attention of a record executive.
Oh, wow.
He told me that Drake asked him to be his manager in
Hmm.
2006, and he told Drake no. And he
Mm.
said, I told Drake no, and I invited you into my office just to tell you of your potential because I really like your stuff. It's good stuff.
Wow.
He told me, he said, stick to what you're doing, keep it grassroots,
Well,
keep
if
it,
you ever want to send me stuff that you have, I'd love to hear it.
yeah,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
That's
The
cool.
old and the new.
Yeah. Anything. Anything. So tell me about your experience since you've been in Israel, yeshiva, learning, etc.
Yeah, so my 2 years at Or Samech was great. I really enjoyed it there, albeit it was very difficult for me to go from like pure Kabbalah to 10
Mm.
hours of Talmud a day. I knew
Hmm.
that's what I needed kind of to even myself out, so
Sure.
to speak, get the
Sure.
experience. But I had to learn Kabbalah and Chassidus every second of my free
Hmm.
time I could,
Hmm.
just to survive, get something for my soul, not just the body of my soul, but the soul of my soul. But it was good.
I've heard the
It was
notion that one shouldn't learn Kabbalah till the age of 40. Is that something that has any merit, do you think?
I love that question. It's a very good question.
Hmm.
I wonder if it's so true why some of the greatest Kabbalists of recent
We're younger than
history.
40.
Yeah. So
So who
so
came
what
up
the
with this thing?
so what's brought down in the Talmud regarding 40 as
Yeah.
it pertains to the Maseh HaMerkavah and the Maseh Bereshit, the workings of creation, the workings of the chariot, according to the Bala Sulam, These are referring to purely oral teachings that wouldn't never be written in a book.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that is so deep and so beyond. It's not the Eitz Chaim of the Arizal. It's not the Zohar. It's something even deeper than that. That's
Uh-huh.
purely teacher to student.
Uh-huh.
So he goes as far as to saying this is my lineage. I grew up with Rav Ashlag in the home, thanks to my father, and I'm now a student pupil follower of the Admor of Ashlag here in Telstone, the Ashlag Hasidus, based on the Baal HaSulam, who's like this master commentator in the Zohar, which we have back here, the Sulam commentary. And he said, anything that's written in a book, free. Go for it.
Mm-hmm.
No, no boundaries, no blocks,
Mm-hmm.
free game. Perhaps in prior generations, there was a relative concern that someone could get confused,
Yeah.
that the commentaries and clarifications this generation, no one has to be concerned anymore. Anyone can come and learn.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Okay, good. So you spent a couple of years at Or Sameach?
Spent 2 years there.
Yeah.
The same person that I had this amazing Gates of Tears experience with, Abraham Lowenthal in Sfat during Birthright. One of my lunch breaks in yeshiva, maybe 15 months into yeshiva, I looked up Bal Hasulam on YouTube and I saw his face. And he never mentioned Rav Ashlag during his, birthright speech. Didn't mention any rabbi's name.
Mm-hmm.
So suddenly everything clicked. Like somehow, some way, there's some type of deeper soul connection. That's why I had that experience. So I reached out, came for Shabbos a couple times. He's been learning Rav Ashlag at that point already 12 years now, 18, 19 years. And he told me about the community that I'm now in here in Telstone.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, go to a meal, go meet the Rebbe. And so I snuck out during Corona every Shabbos I could and came week after week for many months for half a year plus.
Tell me about that
Mm.
community. And you also mentioned, if I remember in our last conversation, that you would go early every morning to learn with this rap. But tell me about the whole context and setup there.
Sure.
Yeah.
We do our best to be in the Beit Midrash by 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
That's when we start learning. And that's like kind
And
of a
is that in
101.
the rabbi's home, the Beit
It's
Midrash?
currently in the home.
Yeah. Yeah.
A year ago, we did have a Beit Midrash.
Okay.
I was standing for 10 years due to some unfortunate politics and contracting with the landlord. It was sold to some property development
Okay.
and they flattened it. So there's currently no shul. We've been in the home of the rabbi for a year now.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
yes, it's in his home in the meantime.
And tell me more. Tell me about the rabbi. Tell me about your experience. Tell me about your learning.
He,
How does your day work, etc.
yeah, so the ideal day, let's say if I woke up at 3, I would get up, get my body moving, say my brachas for the morning, hopefully tap into some meditation, learn a little bit already, just connect to some words, and then make it down to the mikvah, dip in the cold mikvah, closest I can do to a cold bath in this town, and come back for learning. We sit there and we learn the Zohar, and the Rebbe is writing his commentary. This commentary is 30 plus years in the making. He has two ongoing commentaries on the Zohar,
Hmm.
30 plus years in the making.
Wow.
And it's amazing to see him just tuned in. He reads a sentence and he'll just write. It just flows in.
So you're watching him real time doing these
I'm
commentaries.
watching him real time, and
And
whoever's
is he literally
there,
writing them or is he
he's
speaking them
typing.
and students are writing?
He's typing.
Wow. Oh, he's typing. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's super, like, he is the most progressive, modern Admor you will ever meet. He owns a
Mhm.
smartphone. He supports women learning. He's against Kolalim in general as far as like 50% Haredim should be there. No, he says it should be 5%. He's all about people working.
And
He
for the audience, what is Kolalim?
Kolel is uh some could say it's like the post-rabbinic college. It's a place for generally married men who want to continue their yeshiva-esque studies and learn full time.
And
So
he's
much
against
so that
that? Yeah.
what's that?
He's against that?
The Baal Hasulam was.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Anyway, I
He
interrupted. Keep going.
no, you're fine. It's we believe it's very spiritually healthy for a person to work.
Hmm, hmm,
And so if a person's going to be a rabbi, which
hmm,
is let's say the minority of the community, no problem learning 10 hours a day and getting your small stipend and then eventually getting into the rabbinic authority and getting some type of teaching job and so on and so forth. But even then,
because that's work. Yeah,
that
yeah,
is work.
yeah, yeah,
But otherwise, currently
yeah,
in the community, we have 50%.
yeah, yeah,
50% are doing that.
yeah.
Not everyone has
Just
that soul
simply
root.
learning. Uh-huh. Yeah,
Yes. So,
that's very interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
he believes in equal service in the army, among many other things.
Mm,
He happens to be quite viral. I mean, for
mm,
Israeli standards,
mm.
having 150 plus thousand followers cross-platform, mostly on TikTok, is incredibly
Wow.
impressive.
Is he on
Yeah,
Instagram as well?
he is on Instagram. So it's
Send me the
Hebrew.
link. I'm not really on TikTok, which I probably should be, but I'm minorly on TikTok. But send me the link. I'd love to check him out.
Sure.
Yeah.
How's your Hebrew?
My Hebrew's it used to be much better. I graduated high school with the award for effort and merit in Hebrew studies. So so I was way
Nice.
better back in the day, but I haven't used it as much other than for davening and things of that nature.
Sure.
Yeah,
Well, here's
yeah,
a good reason.
yeah. But I'll check it out. We'll see. I could
I,
piece
I,
things
I do.
together.
I want to share a little bit about his story, if I may, because it's
Yeah, please
very
do.
special.
Please do.
It's you don't hear about such stories. Normally, you hear about this what we call the Banshak,
Hmm,
Ben Shel Kodesh, this the sons of the holy ones.
hmm, hmm,
You think of these great scholars and spiritual masters as, they're holy out the womb and everything is perfect and they're in their four corners and they just kind of grow in this perfect place. He grew up in an abusive home.
hmm.
He was dodging forks and knives being thrown by his father, who
Did he
escaped.
was he born in Israel?
Yes,
Hmm,
his
hmm,
father escaped Hungary.
hmm.
Most of his family was decimated in the Shoah,
Yeah.
but his father survived. And yeah, he would like to box and throw forks and knives. And at some point, at 9 years old, literally, for the sake of preserving his life, ran from home and
Wow.
lived semi-homeless for 4 years.
Wow.
He said he would steal food just to get by. He would
Hmm.
steal books to entertain himself,
Wow.
sleep on park benches, sneak into shuls. At some point, he was able to move in with his grandparents.
Hmm.
He was there for 7, 8 months during that period. They both died within that time.
Oh my God.
House gets repossessed. He's back on the street. So he has this crazy back and forth. And at 13, he comes to Rav Shlomo Binyamin Ashlag, who was one of the sons of the Bal Hasulam, one of the successors, which was the shul he grew up in. And he comes there, and the rabbi sees him and says, "Oh, are you here to see me?" And the rabbi says, "When he asked me that, I thought in my mind that you're the last person I want to see. I want to spit in your face and kick you across the world." But his response was, "Yes, I'm here to see you." And he told him about his relative atheism. He's like, "I'm on the streets 4 years. What is this God? What is his goodness? What is my life?" And he gave him a book recommendation. He said, "I think this book will answer your questions." It was the Introduction to the Zohar
Hmm.
by Rav Ashlag,
Hmm.
which is not so technical. It's actually very much a hashkafic. It's a philosophical kind of paradigm-esque work that does have some technical teachings, but it's not the focus. He said he read the first page and he had a deep, ecstatic experience, suddenly imbued with massive light, as if literally all of his questions were answered.
Hmm.
And he felt this huge yearning to literally just commit himself to learning this, to teaching this, to this work for the rest of his life. And here he is, 47 years later, tens of thousands of classes given, 40 plus books published on the topic.
Wow.
Really amazing.
Wow. Quite incredible.
Yeah.
Um, Tell me, grow like a tree, lead like a lion. What does that mean?
Trees grow just by being. They don't require much effort. We speak so much about the effort, and according to the effort is the reward, as the sages say. I think so much so in this generation, a lot of our effort is actually in the non-effort. We have so much performance programming, so many toxic identifications with what success and goodness is based on our externalities as opposed to the intrinsic worth and self goodness, value, eternity, purpose. That to grow like a tree means to just be. And we grow up towards the light. We expand ourselves outwards towards the waters, all being symbolic of the lights of the Creator and the lights of Torah and so forth. But that's the idea of what we would say in Kabbalist terminology, a right line. There's three columns in the tree of life. It's a right line. It's your inner peace, your goodness, the intrinsic pleasure. So to grow from just being and then to lead like a lion is indeed more of the ambitious, energetic side, the expression of climbing higher and higher in a holy fire up the spiritual ladder. There's a lot to say. There's many parameters about the line, particularly as it pertains to kingship and sovereignty, nobility, and inner strength and discipline, as well as loving kindness. That's the
And
idea. It's a balance of right and left.
why is it written behind you? Why is that part of a lesson you're about to learn or teach, or is it something that's really important for you on a permanent basis to live by? Why is it behind you? Why is it on the board in the first place?
Yeah, so my coaching company is Reb Adam Coaching,
Hmm.
and I've been deeply considering what it looks like to have a major shift in my company name and my branding. And these concepts allude to what I'm considering symbolically. And given that my company is an expression of myself, these are things that I need to hear and I need to affirm to myself
Hmm.
because I consider myself quite an ambitious soul and have a lot of goals and therefore can be very self-critical. So
Hmm.
first and foremost, I would like to grow like a tree and just be,
Hmm.
and then lead like a lion. And therefore, I would say that is a surrendered ambition as,
Hmm.
or a surrendered desire uh, that Rabbi Moshe Gersht shares so beautifully. And it's all the same to me. Love that book.
Right, right. Oh, that's fantastic. Well, listen, I'm very much aligned. Um, I think if you recognize what's already there, in other words, growing like a tree is actually the natural process that's happening, whether you recognize it or not. I think you're on the path to being able to lead like a lion. Um, every single thing that's most important to us relates to life itself. And we don't do any of it. Our breathing, our heart function, all the things that actually keep us alive. And as they say, um, when you're healthy, you can have infinite wishes. When you're not healthy, you only have one wish. So really appreciating that life is really everything that we have is the first step to leading like a lion. It'll all flow naturally from there. Um,
Beautiful.
any
Agreed.
parting words for our audience? It's been a wonderful conversation, learning more about your life and where you're coming from and where you aspire to be. Um, has been very illuminating for myself, and I'm here to help. encourage others to have conversations with you, and I'd be more than happy to support your coaching work that you're aspiring to build. Yeah, anything you like. But if you have any parting words, just please share them with us.
I want to say first and foremost, Jay, thank you so much.
My
And I'd like
pleasure.
to share because I think it's a really powerful principle because I know that there's a lot of challenges to say the least in our generation. If we so choose to focus there, we can also focus and hone in on the good.
Hmm.
So much of our work, the redemption of the self as a means for a collective redemption, entails the recognition of the good points. So even within the darkness, just to know that nothing would exist if it didn't have a spark of light within it. And it's up to us to, at the very least, to recognize the potentiality and that the chaos is unstructured potential by definition. And we are here and responsible to be co-creators and that we can help extract the spark from the darkness and free it. And so I'd like to leave everyone with the notion that the darkness is just a greater light that hasn't been revealed yet.
Hmm. Very well said. Well, listen, have a great rest of the day and looking forward to staying in close touch.
As to you, Jay, thank you so much. All the best.
Take care. Bye bye.